Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to the Community Live Stream. This is the show that brings you not only the questions and answers to the community, but the insights, the thought process, the journey of discovery behind those answers. My name is Chuck Tomasi. I am from ServiceNow, and I am the ServiceNow guy with the cool bow tie, back from the worldly travels to Australia and Germany and London. It was wonderful, wonderful to meet many of you that were on the road in Sydney, in Melbourne, in Munich, in London. Great times at the developer meetups and at the Now forums. So thank you very much for joining. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being there. It was, I can't say enough about it. Good meetups, good socializing, good just people walking up and getting a selfie. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Good morning to Shane. Good morning, Paulo from Brazil. Wow, we have, let's get to the business. If you've got the subscription to the YouTube channel, you'll get the alerts. And I will do the pre-roll while others are joining us. Good morning, Andrew. Fighting off a little remaining jet lag this morning. Yesterday I was awake from about 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. and had to do audio at church. It was a bit rough, but got through it and made it through all that. If you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you find something useful in the video, click the like button to let other people know that there's something in here you like. If you also subscribe to that channel, you will get alerts most days. I know that some days it doesn't show up right away, but it appears to be pretty quick today. The bandwidth is holding up. I always get nervous when I step away from the console for a little while. You never know what's going to be working, what's not. It's kind of quirky in spots. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, everybody. Shwani is with us. We have people joining in from all over the place, and I am happy to be back in the seat. Although, again, I'm a little nervous about that. We also do this on Twitch. If you go to twitch.tv/NOWCommunity, that's what it is. I have to look up at the screen and cheat a little bit once in a while. You can watch over there. Some people choose to do that. That's your prerogative. YouTube keeps them around forever. Twitch is around for a couple of weeks. So wherever you choose to do that is fine with me. I will also be posting this video into the community along with links about the articles we have on the community. So it's sort of a circular thing with community articles in the community with a video about the community, and you get the whole idea. This is your show, and it is completely unscripted, completely the content that comes up live in the community as we post this. Onward and upward. If you do have a question about the community, hey, you're more than welcome to say hi, give a shout out like the others have done in the chat. If you do have a question about ServiceNow or some of the features that are available, scripting, that sort of thing, be sure to post that in community.servicenow.com so that others can partake of it. It's searchable later, because if you try to search for, I don't know, client script in YouTube, doesn't work all that well. So you can find this information. I will be putting links to these articles along with the description, so you know relatively what order we're in. If I say talked about REST APIs and then went on to mail notifications, and you're scrubbing through the video and you get to the REST APIs and you see in the description the next thing is notifications, well, you know you got to scrub a little bit further. I'm not time stamping them, but community, you can search them out. You can link back to them. It's a wonderful thing. You get more visibility on that if you do it that way. If you are new to the community, recommend you take a look at some of these guidelines. Be sure to provide context of what you're trying to do, the requirement that you're trying to fulfill, the use case. Give some background of what you're trying to do. Don't just say, hey, how can I do this in a script? Because although the technical answer may be technically correct, it may not be the right solution for what you're trying to do. Also, be sure to use the right categories. If you're posting a security question, put it in the security forum. We have different subgroups in here that you can use, and it's important that you get those in the right place so that the right people get eyeballs on them. If you've got a developer question, then the developer community is probably the right place. So make sure you're in the right department. It's like being in a shopping mall. If you walk into the makeup store and ask for fishing gear, maybe you'll get lucky and somebody in Sephora or Mary Kay store will know about fishing gear, but not as likely as if you walked into the sporting goods store and asked for fishing gear. Ashwani says, have gone today to ServiceNow Roundtable in Bangalore. Good to know a lot regarding new things in MSP instance. Glad you're finding that useful. If you are an experienced person in the community, an expert, consider taking some of those questions that you've seen a number of times. Jim Coyne has done this. Jorn Lundquist has been making videos. I'm very pleased to see more people are doing things like this to make the community a wonderful place. Michael Fry, Stephen Bell, a lot of these people are taking that experience and turning it into repurposable content. So that was the whole point of this, is to share with you the thought process behind that. And however you choose to manifest this, whether it's a blog article, a video, your own thing, have at it. We encourage that sort of participation. Keep the water coming. Stay hydrated. If you have not already done so, go over to developer.servicenow.com. Get yourself a free personal developer instance. I will more than likely be referencing this throughout the show. And along with that are the scripting APIs. That's usually what I reference. I have a personal developer instance up and running right now. So we'll use that for experimentation. If you make mistakes, you can always wipe it. This is your instance. This is a way for you to play in a sandbox safe from your organization's dev, test, and prod stack, and turn on plugins, do a POV, say, hey boss, I've vetted this out, I tried it out, I think this is something we'll find useful, let me show you what I've built. You can do that at developer.servicenow.com and get all of that rich goodness over there. Free learning plans if you want to do a little more education, find out more about what you can do with ServiceNow, how you can develop the applications, integrate with other systems. You can get that information as well. There's also information about Meetups. If you go to the events, the share portal is over there. Lots of free utilities and applications. I referenced one which somebody came up to me at Now Forum London and say, I've got this application. I want to take it from global to scoped. How can I get my data over there? Turns out I had just the answer for them. There's a utility that I wrote. Maybe I'll reference that a little bit later. But those kinds of things are available under the share menu at developer.servicenow.com. We need a desk bell for that. Go over there. As far as meetups go, you can find those over at meetup.com/ServiceNow, /pro/ServiceNow Dev Program. The URL's right there on the screen. You can read it. I don't need to read it to you. Lots of meetups have been happening while I was out. I was able to go to one in Melbourne, able to go to one in Munich, able to go to one in London. There are more coming up. I will be at one in DC, Washington, DC, the first week of November. Looking to get to one in Tampa. We're nailing down the time and date on that right now in early December. But over 50 chapters, I think. It's either 50 or 51 right now. I'll say a minimum of 50 chapters right now. We are looking for leadership in New York, Chicago, and the San Francisco Bay Area. They already have chapters. We're just looking for somebody to step up and organize those, find a venue, set dates. Very simple stuff. ServiceNow is happy to support you, but these are really your chapters, your group of community people that like to get together and talk about ServiceNow and develop applications, learn, share, grow, that sort of thing. So I encourage you to do that. Go over to that. If you're interested in starting a chapter in your area and there isn't one already available, you say, hey, Chuck, can we start a Detroit chapter? Reach out to us. We're happy to help. All the information you can get. We are working on an application, a ServiceNow application, to help the organizers manage that more effectively, have access to content, submit expense reports, track attendees, lots of good stuff coming there. All right, I am rambling on. Let's finish up with the pre-roll. Where am I? That was the meetups. Events coming up, other events. We have, I mentioned, Now Summit in Washington, D.C. We have Now Summit in New York. Lots of webinars coming up. Lots of other great content. If you go over to our events page at servicenow.com, you can find that information either by topic, by location, by calendar. Find out what's coming in your area and participate. Hopefully, might even see you at some of these events. Looking forward to seeing you there. The other thing we've got is a webinar tomorrow. TechNow episode 57 is coming up, where we will be talking about all the low-code features you can put together to make an application. This is probably going to be review for a lot of you experts that watch this video, but perhaps not. There might be some new information. I highly encourage you to take a look at delegated development so that you can expand your IT capabilities to those process owners and business analysts out there in the ecosystem, in your organization, so that they can be building tables, putting fields on forms, writing reports, and then leave the high power content to the developers, service portal widgets, flow designer actions, integration hub actions, the complex action. And then you build a partnership between the business and IT, so everybody's maximizing their throughput. They don't have to sit around and wait for an IT resource to be available to do something like add a choice to a choice list. They can go do that themselves. That's perfectly delegatable with delegated development. Anyway, I'll talk more about that tomorrow. We'll be building an application right in front of us. Stacy's going to be my internal partner, customer, whatever you want to call it. She'll be the process owner that's giving me requirements, and we'll build that live as we go through this application. Looking forward to highlighting, spotlighting some of the platform features. Who knows? There may be something in there you hadn't thought of and go, you know what? I was scripting that. There's an easier way to do that thing. So join us tomorrow. The link on the bottom, you can register bit.ly/TN57Reg, and we'll continue bringing these to you. I believe next month is Virtual Agent, so we'll be talking about Virtual Agent. Still need to flesh out the content on that. Stacy and I will be co-presenting on that one as that comes up. And then Agent Intelligence, we're looking at doing that in December. Then we take some time off for the holidays, obviously. Come back in January with some more great content. So TechNow is continuing to produce those. We've been doing those for coming up on 6 years. That's hard to believe, isn't it? Thank you to all the people who watch that series and all the videos that we produce. Where are we? S for Customer Success Center. If you haven't been there, this is our Customer Success Center we launched last spring at Knowledge 18 and continue to provide more content around upgrades and customizations and best practices. Lots of great information. If you haven't been there, take a look around wherever you are on your ServiceNow journey. I'm sure we can help you keep moving and be effective. This really came out of a discussion that a lot of our customers had with our CEO, John Donahoe. They said, hey, you've done these implementations. Guide us, help us understand where we are now, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, and how we can maximize our value out of the platform. So this is in direct response to that. I encourage you to look or tell your boss or your director to go take a look at that as well. Any code that I write today, any scripts, will be available on GitHub at the link you see there. They're broken down by folders given the date. If there's no folder for the date, that means there was no code written on that date. There probably hasn't been any in a couple of weeks because I haven't been doing this, and there's no code when I'm not doing this. But if we do happen to write a script, I will be sure to put it in the 2018/-10-22. It is October 22nd, 2018, and that's where you can find that. If you follow the link through the community post, it will bring you right to that folder. So just trying to make navigation a little bit easier for you. That's it for the opening. Let's get on with the rest of this. I am here in the community. I've got my... Did you notice that I put a cursor locator on there to help you spot where my cursor is? I've got my personal developer instance up and ready to go. Let's just refresh that to make sure it doesn't time out while I'm talking about something else. I like to start the show at the top by going to unreplied. That would be right here. I filter on unreplied, and the list becomes the most recent unreplied things in here. I generally don't do performance and analytics or security or many of these topics. My specialty is in custom applications, integrations, and the platform in general. However, I may take a peek at some of these because they may have a development side to them. Somebody who does exclusively reporting may not know about a simple platform feature that can help them do that report. So, need help reporting to exclude weekends. I thought this had been asked a number of times. I'm going to open up a new tab and do a search on there. So community.servicenow.com and search for report exclude weekends. Let's find out. This feels like a very familiar question that's been asked before. How can we exclude weekends from duration calculation and script exclude? Is there a way to exclude weekends, holidays from burn down chart? How to pull a report which excludes weekends and holidays? None of these have been answered, or they have a green check mark next to them. So, excluding weekends from reports when you're reporting on dates. This was posted in Knowledge Conference. This is a guest from... I'm going to take a look at this one. It's a blog, so it looks, I don't know, by Heath 4 years ago. Created 10 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So this is around performance analytics. I'm going to invite them to take a link at this one. And still logged in, right? Yes, I can reply. Did they give their name? Shaikh. Hi, Shaikh. I invite you to take a look at this blog article written a few years ago by Heath Ramsey. He used to be my boss at one time. Get that linked, paste that in. And do we have our first desk bell of the day? Yes, we do. That didn't sound quite loud enough. I'm going to boost that volume up. And there we go. One down. Let's see. Call for speakers. NERComp Snug 42319. Wow, that's 19 should be opening soon. I don't have any definite dates, but we are talking about it. We're making a lot of great ideas. We're doing some ideation on CreatorCon and the Builder Workspace. A lot of things around that. So even though it's slightly under 200 days away, I think we're now around 195. I haven't checked recently. We've got to get moving on that. I've got a lot of things. Have we tried to implement this, but getting a redirect every time exceeds 30 seconds? Need help ASAP. Okay. Can you help me understand what the use case is? 30 seconds for a redirect. Redirect sounds like a terribly long time for someone to wait. What is the underlying requirement / business use case? / I know those are commas, I'm saying / problem you are trying to solve. Again, there's technical answers and then there's proper solutions. Sometimes they match up, but you got to tell us what you're trying to do. Hi, Chuck Francis in CERN. I can't pronounce the name of your town. I apologize. Shock your hand in the front row during the keynotes in CreatorCon London last week. Good morning, Francis. Good to see you again. Thanks for showing up. And everybody watching, thank you for showing up. I would like to know if any question papers for event management certification. That's in ITOM. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to filter these down, go to communities, and start with developer. Then we've got featured content and do unreplied here. What is the value of URI ref? I want to create a similar email script for custom table. I want to open tickets in Service Portal View. URI ref gives a link to the record number. Scripted email notification ServiceNow Wiki. That was 2 years ago. But somebody responded. It is an out-of-the-box available for email scripting as follows. Incident.do, society, breadcrumb. Yeah, technically it's $ URI ref, but I'm not going to get into that. And sadly, it's not available in Flow Designer. Okay, let's get the unreplied out of here. And how to pass catalog item variable in PowerShell script in workflow. That's going pretty deep. Workflow, meaning orchestration. How can I pass current variable from catalog in PowerShell script in workflow? I'm trying to use the following way, however, I'm getting an error. Current.variables.cmd. You know, I thought I did this once. Not a PowerShell script, but a, what was I running? I think it was just a shell script on a Unix machine, and it did work that way. I do not know. This should probably go into, well, I'm going to subscribe to that one because I want to know what the answer comes out to be. Because that's what I thought it would have been. Can I change automatic logout time in Service Portal for my client? If so, how? Okay, this one. Neat. Let's go to Service Portal timeout. I'm going to go to the docs, docs.servicenow.com. Reading the comments in the chat. Thank you very much. Let's see. Service Portal timeout, Customer Service Portal properties. Service Portal properties page. All right, let's take a look at the Service Portal properties. Service, back to my personal developer instance. Portal. Not seeing them. Service Portal. Let's look. Maybe it's just properties under here. Properties. Do we have a timeout? 404, maximum number of stream entries, duration in seconds for the info message. I do not see a timeout. Interesting. Where else do we have? Activate Service Portal, Consumer Service Portal announcements, HR Service Portal. Okay, let's take a higher level look. Just ask for timeout. Modify session timeout. The base system timeout in Apache session is for 30 minutes. Yeah, I don't think there's a separate one for Service Portal that I knew. Configure mobile app session timeout. That's different. Automatic logout to Service Portal timeout. Based on what I see, Service Portal timeout is the same as the base system session timeout. Defaults to 30 minutes. It is set by the property. Anybody remember glide.session timeout? Something like that. Let's look. System properties. Glide.ui session timeout. Don't know if that's going to copy the link as well. Yes, it did. Fiddly-doo. I'll open up the record. Open up the record, get the text from there. And I think we have a page on that as well. You know what? I'm just going to copy the HTML from there. Should be able to paste that right in there. Docs. Paste. Hooray. Another bell. We all learn. Good to be back, Snehal. Thank you. As I mentioned before, fighting off a little bit of jet lag. I got back Friday afternoon, and I think I slept most of Saturday. How to use remediation rules, how to create workflow for CMDB remediation rule. Can someone help me here? Example, how to remove stale CI with remediation rule. I've never seen this subject with the remediation rule in it 3 times. I don't know. What is a remediation rule? This might be a learning opportunity. Remediation rule. Apply CI remediation. You can apply a remediation. The CI matches the conditions in the CI remediation rule. Interesting. This is part of ITOM, event management, alert management. Alert and CI remediation. This goes pretty deep. That's probably why I never heard of it. I don't do too much ITOM and definitely not any event management. Alert and CI remediation help troubleshoot and resolve underlying problems that generate alerts. Remediation is based on orchestration workflows that can be scripted to perform remediation tasks, such as gathering system information or rebooting a server. Event management provides a framework for configuring and implementing a system-wide remediation plan to resolve, minimize, or prevent problems that generate events and alerts. Configure alert rules and CI remediation. You know what? I'm going to leave that for the experts. Technically, that belongs in ITOM, which is why I was confused on it. They put it in the developer community. Yes. ServiceNow app fails to connect to instance. Hello, we found an unexpected problem with the ServiceNow app. Most of the time the login to our instance is unproblematic possible, but in regular intervals we get the login message, ServiceNow app, check failed, wrong username or password. When the user then inputs on purpose wrong login data, we get request failed unauthorized 404. Our company uses the SN app via mobile iron, so that could be a possible parameter. ServiceNow support could not find any drivers on their side so far. Does anybody experience this problem? As far as I know, it's not supported with mobile iron, but I could be wrong on that. Far as I know, we don't support any MDM or MAM applications like mobile iron. Have you tried it? By just downloading it and installing, then logging in. That should tell you if it's mobile iron related. I haven't heard definitively whether the next mobile application, the one that's currently in development via SkyGiraffe acquisition that we did, was it about a year ago? If that one is going to support MDM and MAM as well. So I'm going to go back to the main page. Wow, we're already halfway through this show. Crazy how time flies when you're having fun. Data source SFTP retrieval is looping. I'll take a look at that. Hi all, I'm trying to use the data source as SFTP method. I have put all the information but still getting the error. glide.dbx.impex data source exception, problem opening handle to remote file. Let's take a look at that, see what we can find elsewhere. I am going to do a quick search in the community. See what we can find. If anybody's mentioned this problem, loading file with SFTP server. Look at that, it's even answered. Let's see what happens. Problem being handled a remote file. We tried this, we tried that. This issue has been resolved. Solution, the absolute path for the file SFTP service provided in the file was retrieved by ServiceNow for upload. Let's link one to the other. I found this resolved question in the community with the same base error message. Copy. Create link HTML. Don't forget, kids, search the community before asking a question. Otherwise, I'll do it for you, free of charge. Sync data between two dropdowns. I have two drop-down fields on two tables, custom application table, and out of the box, they are both of the same value name in drop-down. Still, we're not. Install status, use all status, sync. Okay, best way to sync these, if you want to sync the values, the choices in a choice list, use the dictionary entry on one to reference the dictionary entry on another. Example, let's go to my personal developer instance. You can see how this is done. I'm going to go to, let's see. You know what? Safety application is a good one. Or not. Let's go to Studio. For some reason, Studio isn't in my list of favorites, which is a shame because I want it. A little housekeeping here first. Done. Studio. And I'll use my CLS app for community live stream. Under the data model tables item, I thought I had a choice list in here somewhere. I have a field of type, don't see it. So let's create a new one. Create a new one. And I will call this, wait for it. Make it a choice, call it state. It's called state, and then under the choice list specification, I think I have to go to the advanced view to do this. Underneath advanced view, yes. Take a quick screenshot of that. You can find this in the, you can find this by clicking the advanced view on your choice field. Dictionary entry. Paste that there. And show an example of Then it's not a dependent field, it's not a calculated field. Where'd it go? Where did it go? No. I should be able to connect this to the other choices on another field. Now I don't remember where it was. I've done this a number of times before. This is frustrating. Choices, attributes, labels. Hey Steve! Glad to see you made it home safely. Choice list specification. It's not a suggestion. Not a dependent field, because dependent field is if you want to do like subcategory to category. We're not doing that. We're not doing calculated. Calculated is if you want to. Interestingly, you can't check calculated. It's not a dynamic default. Where'd it go? Save that. Am I missing it somewhere? There's a way to point the field at the choices from another field. You specify the table and the field, and then it just goes and gets the choices. I am very disappointed that I can't find this. Let me try another approach. Let's go to global. And say that, well, on the other hand, I'm going to go to safety again. Issues, safety issues. I'm going to find this. I'm not going to let, the computer will not win today. In our HR scoped app, the replies from ex-employees with non-company email domain are getting ignored. The emails have watermark, but still getting attacked. Shalini, I would say ask that in the community. I'm not real big on the HR scoped app, and generally not going to answer questions in the video from the chat because other people won't be able to find them. It would be me answering your question as opposed to everyone answering your question and other people benefiting from that. So I want to make sure that we get the maximum value out of the community. So I recommend posting that in the community under the HR sub-community. Let me find my choice list in here. Let's take this one. Category, configure dictionary. Default value, no. Advanced view. Dependent, calculated, use dynamic default. All right, I'm going to blame this on jet lag because this just isn't right. This is hooking up a dependent field on the same table. There is a way to do choices from another table, and I am not seeing it, but I will find it. I will find it. Somebody is going to point this out to me and indicate the error of my ways. You know what? Why don't I just look in the docs real quick? Did I close it? I closed the docs page. Darn it. Docs. Proof that this is done live. Choice list. Choice field. Retrieving choice field direct words to view choice list definitions, display references a choice list, security operation dictionary entry form. That might be it. Function field, read only, text index, column label, column name, max length, mandatory display function definition, advanced attributes, default value, reference specification, use reference qualifier. How is that in the choice field? Reference cascade, dependent field, choice list specification. Choice table, advanced view, populates the choice fields with the same values as another choice field. That's what I was looking for. I'm on advanced view. Where is it? This is kind of making me mad now because it's not in here. Is it missing? For example, if choice table is set to incident table, the field has the same. You know what? I'm going to bow out of this one with a link. If you want to sync the choices, use the dictionary entry. Use the dictionary entry on one to reference dictionary on another. So make sure it's still in English language. Nah, it grabbed a bit of my cursor from there. That's a nifty little artifact. Please ensure the same data type on the custom application or changes in stuff. Okay. Somebody responded to that before I got to it. We have one message in the mailbox. We're going to quick take a look and see what's happening. Oh, we got a couple in there. How to pass catalog item in the share in the this is the catalog variable item in the orchestration element and $current variables command. Normally if you use a little data picker, it'll put that in there for you. I wonder if they typed it in themselves. Let's see what Mike comes up with. Good point though. Yogi commented on ServiceNow Foundation videos. What is ServiceNow? Good videos. If you haven't seen these before, they are available on the community. And they're simply listed as ServiceNow Foundation videos that walk you through the basics of using ServiceNow. Lots of good stuff in here. And lots of comments. Lots and lots of comments. Yogi commented on this one. Let's see if I can find the comment in here. Usually it links to the comment, but this one is not. I'll assume it's at the bottom, which is a fairly rough assumption. Nope. Then let's go back to the top, show all comments, and find Yogi's name. 1 of 2, 2 of 2. Can't find it. You know what? I'm not going to be able to find this comment. There's still a few things about the community software, like finding embedded comments in this way, that don't really thrill me. We can do better. We can do better. All right, 20 minutes to the top of the hour. I want to switch gears real quick. There was a comment that came in on a rather old article about using document ID fields and reference ID fields. Reference fields, as I'm sure many of you are aware, you say, here is the table I'm going to point to, and a reference field will contain the sysid value of one of the records in that table. Document IDs, allow you to point to any record in any table. And they're saying, well, when would you use one over the other? And the discussion is very good. There's good back and forth discussion in here. An example of using a document ID field is in sysapproval approver table. And you can see this manifested in the approving field. It is, if I say show, it is actually called a field called document ID of type document ID. And that allows you to point to any record in any field, because I could put an approval on a task-related table like incident or change or safety issue, or I could put an approval on any other record that I deem necessary. And this contains the full information of the table and the sysid of that field, of that record. So, good question about that. Document IDs, I don't use them too much because normally I don't give users the ability to point to any record on any table. For one thing, there's a lot of tables. I think default, there's more than 2,000 tables out of the box. If anybody ever finds this mythical box that we have where cloud software lives, I'd like to see it. Maybe that's something we can mock up for knowledge and say, here's the box that ServiceNow comes in. But there's a lot of tables, and we generally don't give users that information. But if you have a table that you're maintaining via script or some background process like logging, it may be helpful to know what record was associated with that other record. So document IDs are useful, but not generally used a lot in applications themselves. Steve says, I want to dig into Studio. Any recommendation where to start? Guessing that there's a TechNow episode somewhere. Good question. Studio came out in Geneva, and I don't remember if we did a specific episode on Geneva. Let me look real quick. Going to go to bit.ly/ServiceNow-TechNow. That is our compendium table of contents. And just look for Studio. No, because Geneva, scripted REST APIs, Geneva was back here in the 20s somewhere. And I don't know that we did one specifically on Studio. Good call, though. Maybe I'll spend some extra time tomorrow morning just going around Studio and introduce you to the capabilities and menu options there. How's that sound for a deal? Let me put that down for what to cover tomorrow. Potential topics. Studio 101. I'm going to call that Studio 101. All right. I did have something before I went away about the follow-up button. I was trying to get this to work. The follow button. If you look on incident.list and open up a record, there is a follow button. And Andrew Barnes did this on the live coding happy hour session on the, what would that have been, the 11th, the 12th? I think he did one on the 12th while I was in Australia. It was either the 12th or the Friday I was supposed to leave. Anyway, no, it was Friday. It was Friday the 5th. Working with the dates here, can't quite remember, but on the 5th, How do we vote yes for Studio 101? You just did. So, on the 5th, he was building this out, but I was trying to get the follow button to show up on one of my records, and there are 3 criteria that he reminded me of that need doing to get that on there. The first is you need live field checked on the table. So in my application, I was going to the safety issues, and I said, I would like that on my table as well. Why don't I? Oh, I do have a follow button. I'm sorry, it was the CLS button. So the CLS, all items, and I said, I would like a follow button here. And eventually I did get it. But what you need is, first thing, on configure table, under the controls, let me get to my CLS application. The table itself, under controls, needs live feed checked. That's item number 1. Item number 2 is you need connect property set to both. So also under the property? Yes. I got to remember where we put this. So the property was an attribute. Updated. Let's look at what was recently updated. C to A. Connect. I had this all down. I remember what it was. Equals both. It's not there. It might have been an attribute. Trying to remember where I was going with this. System properties. Let's go back to my table. Item table. Application access. Where did he have that? It wasn't application access. I'll find it. There's a connect property on something. And now I don't remember where it was. Access control, subscription management, database index, labels. And then the third one, because I can't remember the second, at least one journal input field on the form. So what I did is added a comments field, called it journal input, and then follow showed up. Because the whole point of the follow is to follow those comments and track. And then if you watch his video from the 5th on Live Coding Happy Hour, which is over on the, I believe it was the, yes, ServiceNow Dev Program YouTube channel, you'll find all the details there. His idea for that was when you go into ServiceNow, the little connect sidebar, the little connect message would say 7. Okay. If you are assigned to a task, an issue, a record, and you're following it, it would auto-follow things that you were assigned to so that you would see almost like an IM indicator that there have been updates. You could go here and say, oh, this one's been updated and that one's been updated. And if you're not assigned to them, it will unfollow them. I haven't had a chance to watch that video, so I don't know what the details are behind that. So I need to find that connect property. I didn't document this very well, did I? Connect property set to both. I'll find it. I'll find it, and I'll get back to you on that. The another discussion that was happening over that weekend when I first signed off, I think it was the 6th or the 7th, is Sarab wanted to set a specific theme when a user has a birthday. Now, this can be done with a scheduled job or a flow designer flow to go through the users, assuming, of course, you have birthdays in their sysuser.list, Able tutor, you would have some sort of birthday field in there, and then you go through and say, is it Abel's birthday, yes or no? If it is, then setting the theme is a user preference, if I remember right. So if I look at general theme, and let me set mine to, it's currently set to system, I'll set it to blues. And of course, you see my theme changes to blues. Sys user preference dot list is the table. Let's sort by last updated. And it says, here is my theme, and it gets the sys ID of that for this particular user. you could go in and set this theme based on that. Say, this is Chuck's birthday, set the theme to whatever the birthday theme is, and then don't forget to set it back to the old value, which means you will need to save the old value somewhere. I can't just assume Chuck is going back to system, because if I'd started out with my Now 2018 theme and you set it back to system, I would go, well, my birthday's over, but so is my theme. So be sure when you're doing something fun like this to save the old value and then reset the value back to the old value. So you're going to have to do a little bit of logic, both forwards and backwards. Didn't write out a whole script for this, but it is completely doable. It's just a matter of, do you want to invest the time and effort into it? Sounds like a fun project. Sounds like it might improve morale. If somebody sees that their theme was changed, they go, oh, happy birthday. And it's got this, pink and green and fluorescent color to it, and it hurts their retinas. Then they'll probably change it back themselves. But yeah, it's completely doable. Themes are stored in the sys under user under preference table. Take a look at that table. There's a lot of cool stuff in there that's not property related, it's user related. So users, when they change themes, when they set the list order, when they set a lot of these filters and settings for each user are stored in the user preference table. It's sort of like a personal property table for you. So I wanted to mention that one as well. And what else do we have? We're going to cover that tomorrow. Let's go back and see if there's been anything new. Don't forget, we do have, also on our list of Tech Now episodes, is this one, episode 57, creating your first app in ServiceNow. Basic introduction to creating applications. Craig, Chuck, and Stacy will be on the job tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific time, wherever that is in your neck of the woods, which would make it, 3 p.m. UTC? I don't know if you're going to be awake or not. Having been around the world in the last couple of weeks, I know time zones can really be an amazing, amazing thing. Let me look in the mailbox one more time. Looks like we have one more thing in there. Sync data between two dropdowns. We have a reply from Pandu. GR install status equals number current U system status. This is creating a new choice called implementing. Can't change the data type as their existing fields and have data in it. Got a reply to mine. Is it okay to make that change on existing fields? Any chance of data loss? The only time you're going to run the risk of data loss, the only time you run a risk of data loss is if you change the field type. You can change the attributes to attributes/properties of a field. Say the field length from 100 to 200 without any risk. Just don't change the type. Hello, Martin. We need to go back to Swatch Beat as a standard time. Swatch Beat. Steve, you're showing your age if you remember the Swatch watches. Changes need to go to the next phase. We're coming on the last 5 minutes. What have I got for 5 minutes worth of content? You know what? Let's spend a few minutes on Studio. I might run over, but I want to get this. So I'm going to move Studio up here. Put that there. Studio. Studio is our integrated development environment on board in the system and is available under the System Applications menu. I often just type stud because it's just fun to type stud in the application. On a fresh new instance, it will bring up an empty list here. You have the ability to create an application or import from source control. If you have an application that has already been saved to GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, a Git-based technology, you can import it from there simply by providing the URL and your credentials to that repository. So that's one option for your personal developer instance, is save things off to a GitHub repository, as I have on many of these. You can tell from the link on here, this little hamburger icon is pulled apart. So it does not have integration to source control. This one, on the other hand, is linked together. I guess that's supposed to be like a power outlet and socket or extension cord, whatever it is. And the indication of these little blue arrows means I have changes to upload to the repository, or in this case, I have changes to upload and download from the repository, indicating I may have been working on this on another instance. I'm not sure. I think I did. I initially created this on this instance and then migrated over to another one. So different versions when I created it, that kind of thing. If I've already got an existing application, I click on the application. Otherwise, I can create a new one. Let's go back to here. I can create a new application. I'm given 4 choices in London. One is to start from scratch. I don't use this one very often because it creates a new role per table, and I don't often find that helpful. So this allows you to simply create a scope. Done. Create custom application. I'll show you. It brings up a prompt. It says, give me a name, I'll give you a scope. If I call this hello, it calls it with my particular scope name or system identifier name and the scope in front of that. Let's go back to create custom application. Very similar thing. Hello. It will also create a menu option for me and a user role that goes for this application. This isn't the only user role you have to use, but it's a default to start with. And it suffixes it with .user. I can optionally create a table at the same time, making it very easy to create an application, create a table, and then maybe import a spreadsheet into the table, and you're done. You've taken an old legacy spreadsheet application and brought it into Studio very easily. All of the options available to that table, like auto numbering, can be put on there. Live feed, extensible, live feed we already talked about in terms of following. I'm not going to create that at the moment. You can start from a service. So if you have a service creator based service, if you've used Service Creator, if you haven't, it allows you to quickly add kind of micro applications. I'm going to use that term loosely. It's never been used before. Micro applications into ServiceNow and allow the process owners, the admin assistants, the non-coders to build and maintain these micro catalog items, micro applications in the service catalog. That's where they'd be exposed. If you've got one of those and you've outgrown the capabilities of Service Creator, you can turn it from a service into an application very, very easily with this option. It simply says, what is the name of the service that you want to create, or the one that you've already created. Give the application a name. It will identify a scope, and you can continue on that way. Finally, you can add from global. You can create an application in global. Yes, in London, you can create a scoped global application. This creates a container around global artifacts that you would then claim. You say, hey, I need the incident functions business rule in this application. It claims that and doesn't allow anyone else to modify that unless they are in Studio in that scope. It's still global scope, but it is a way to package those elements around the particular change or release or process or whatever and move them using the application repo. So you can publish and install them without using update sets. That's the big thing about this, is you can create a global application and move them in, manage them in Studio and move them using the app repo without using update sets. So that's the creation part. Once you've created an application, it will come up with the number of things here for you that are automatically created. If I were to use create new application, it will possibly create me a table, a menu, a role, that kind of thing. I can then create additional ones with this blue button right here. Turn on my little mouse indicator that I did this morning. And I can add what we call application files. These are the records. These are the objects. These are the configurable definition options you can use in ServiceNow to build out that application. For example, if I want to add a new table, I go to Data Model, Table, and down here, because the font is just a little too large, is my Create button. And it will say, great, let's build a table. Give it a name. This is the same process you use if you were going to system definition table, tables and columns, that kind of thing, to build this out. Only now it's managed all within Studio. Studio's layout, I didn't really go over the organization of the screen. I've got menu options across the top. So my file menu, I can, again, import from source control here, create an application, publish. Publish is to send it up to the application repository to be installed on my test or prod instances, any other instances in my family. I can also publish to the store if I am an ISV and have I belong to the technical partner program, that I can release it that way. I can switch between existing applications. I'll bring up my list. That's how I was getting that up before. I can move between application A and B. And manage developers allows me to deal with delegated development, which I'll be talking a little bit on tomorrow's webinar. So if I want to say, hey, here's Luke Wilson. Luke can play with Flow Designer and Tables and Forms. He's not going to mess with ACLs. He's not going to mess with security. That's how I can use delegated development to allow Luke to access Studio and only those pieces of Studio that apply to his application, and give him that access. Everything else in here should look pretty familiar as far as creating tables and columns. The big benefit that I get out of Studio is that I can work on multiple pieces of my application in a separate browser tab. So if I, for example, have my table issue and I can't remember the name of the table exactly, and I want to put that into, say, a script include, let's go ahead and create a new script include, server development, script include. And I'm simply going to call this Chuck. It prototypes all this stuff out, and I say item table equals. What was the name of the item table? Well, without Studio, this would be very tedious to jump around different tabs. Save this one. Now I just go over to this tab, copy it out of there, and paste it into there. Very easy to do that. Same kind of thing I do all the time with doing a Glide Ajax client script and a Glide Ajax script include. There's a correlation that has to happen between your sysparms and your table names and your whatever. It's very, very easy to manage all of this. Under source control, I've got since I'm not linked, I only have one option that's available to me, and that is to link to source control. Once I do that, I can then push and pull and put branches on and tags, all that typical basic source control stuff. There are some hotkeys available to you in here. I'm going to close this out. Oop, I don't want to save that. I encourage you to learn the hotkeys. On my Mac, it's Command-Shift-O to do a go-to. There is a wonderful, wonderful search. If you do a go-to and say, you know, I had a role called something, I don't remember what it was, you can type in role and it will find it by the key over here or the actual role over there. If you've got an ACL, access control, it will list those. So go to, very easy. Back to search. Search, I can search for items in a script. I don't have anything scripted in this particular application, so kind of a poor example, but if I wanted to find, say, item, I can search through my application for anywhere it says item, and it will look through the script fields for the word item. And it comes up in a second. No results found. As I mentioned, there's no scripting going on in this application. But what's also handy, and this goes beyond just looking for the word item in my application, I can search all applications. So it's not just bound by the safety application that I'm using right now. It's looking for all scripts, all script fields that have the word item in them. I'll just do a quick search. It's probably going to take a minute or two. That it's going through every business rule, every script include, every client script, all the things that have script fields on them. I should say almost all the script things that have. There's a few things like, I don't know if it searches service portal widgets yet. Talk to Corey Searing about that to see if we can get that added in. Search canceled because too many results were found. But you can see I've got 294 business rules. that, or excuse me, 294 script includes with the word item in them, 206 business rules that have that here and here. I can expand those. I can go right into them. For if I needed maybe a slice of code out of this script include that I wanted to put in mine, or business rule that I want to put in mine, I can copy and paste it right out of here. So very, very handy for doing that. Down on the bottom, I've got safety, a version number 1.0.0. As I'm managing that, that's down here on the bottom. If it were hooked up into source control, I would see this icon plugged back together, and it will tell me what branch I'm on, what release, all that good information around source control. So that's the fundamentals in about 10 minutes of what you get out of Studio. Again, very handy for managing here, and then see if I can get my cursor to do what I want it to do, and then test it over here. If it doesn't work, I run back over to this other tab that's running Studio, and I can tweak, I can play, I can add fields, come back to my main browser tab and test. Speeds up the creation, the development, the management of that very, very nicely. Links to source control. Push applications via the publish feature. Install it on other instances. So lots of great, great benefits in Studio. There you go. Whew. Studio 101 came out in Geneva. We're now in London, so it's been out for a couple, 3 years, and I have run over, but hopefully you found this helpful. If you have, be sure to mark that like button in the YouTube so that other people can find it helpful. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll get you on your merry way. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. It's good to be back. Happy to be here, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday. I do this every Monday through Friday where I can, where I'm in town, where personal things don't interfere, and get this out to you at 1 p.m. UTC. So I look forward to seeing you at 1 p.m. UTC again tomorrow. Until then, take care, have a wonderful day, learn something, share something, be helpful to others, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye now. Trying to sign out. Darn thing won't sign out. There we go. Bye. I keep hitting the wrong key, that's why. See ya.